Chris here of LightandJoyDesigns, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Airpod Ditty pouch. This is a small little pouch that you can use to put your Airpod case into so that you don't lose it at the bottom of your bag, your gym bag or your pocketbook or your crochet bag. You can also use these to carry lots of other valuables that you don't want to lose at the bottom of your bag, such as your chapstick, some money, your ID, maybe even your rosary beads, your stitch markers, batteries, marbles, whatever small little treasure that you have that you don't want to lose. So let's learn how to make this fun and easy little crochet pattern. For this pattern, you're going to need about 20 to 25 yards of cotton yarn. I'm using Lily's Sugar and Cream here in the colorway Country Stripes. You're going to need a 5.0 millimeter hook, an H hook, a yarn needle. You're going to need a stitch marker and a pair of scissors. So something to know about this pattern is it is worked in spirals. So what that means is we start out with 4 single crochets into a magic circle. When you work in rounds, you begin and end each round at a certain place and you join with a slip stitch. When you're working in a spiral, you, instead of joining with a slip stitch at the end of the round, you just go to the next stitch. So in this case, we're going to make 2 into each of these, and you just go around, and you'll put a stitch marker into your first stitch every single time so that you can remember. And then when you get to the next round, you just go from this stitch right into this stitch for your next round. And so on. And then again, going right into the next stitch. And so on, all the way around. So this pattern is worked in spirals. There's no joining at the end of each round, but you do want to make sure that you move your stitch marker up with each spiral round on your first stitch. To begin, we're going to make a magic circle. Wrap the yarn around 2 fingers, cross it underneath and over to the left. Take your crochet hook, go under the right hand thread, grab the left hand thread and twist it into a loop. Now you're going to chain 1 and you're going to pull that nice and tight. For round 1, we're going to make 4 X stitch single crochets into our magic circle. An X stitch single crochet is an amigurumi single crochet that's designed to be tight. It's the same as a regular crochet, except you use yarn unders instead of yarn overs. So let's take a look at that. So you're going to go into the loop, and instead of yarning over like we normally do, you're going to yarn under. So that yarn is coming under your crochet hook. Pull through a loop, and then yarn under. Okay, we normally go yarn over. You're going to yarn under, it's under your hook, and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. So that's 1. And in that first stitch, you want to place your stitch marker to mark the beginning of the round. And with each round, every time you make your first stitch, you're going to move that stitch marker up so that we know where the rounds begin. And you'll also then know where the rounds end. So we're just going to make 3 more of these. Yarn under, pull through 2, yarn under, yarn under, pull through 2, and yarn under, pull through 2. That's the end of round 1. For round 2, we're going to make 2 of these X stitch single crochets into each of the 4 single crochets, and we're going to close up our loop by pulling on our tail, and we're going to come around to our first single crochet here. So for the rest of this project, all of the single crochets are going to be the X stitch single crochets. I'm just going to call them single crochets from now on to make it easier. So you're going to go into that first stitch, and we're going to make 2 of those X stitch single crochets. So we're going to yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn under, and pull through 2. Now we want to immediately move our stitch marker into that first stitch. Make sure you lock it so that you don't lose it. In that same stitch, we're going to make a second one. And these might be tight because they're actually designed to be tight. It will get less hard as you go along. It's the first round or 2 that's a little tight. Okay, so that was 2, and then in the rest of these we're going to do the same thing. Yarn under, yarn under, and we're going to make a second one, yarn under, and yarn under. There's our next stitch there. Under that V, yarn under, yarn under. We're going to make a second one, yarn under, and then here is our last stitch right there. This is the hardest row, is getting into that first row. So yarn under, and the second one. So now we have 8 X stitch single crochets at the end of round 2. So at the end of round 1 we had 4 X single crochets, and at the end of round 2 we have 8 X single crochets. So for round 3 we are going to do 2 X single crochets into the first stitch, 1 X single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to repeat that all the way around. At the end we'll have a total of 12. So we're going to start here with our stitch marker stitch, take the stitch marker out, and we're going to make 2 of those X single crochets in there, yarn under, pull through 2. Replace that stitch marker right away and make sure you lock it. Otherwise you'll have to go back to figure out where you're at. Make a second one in there, yarn under, pull through 2. So that was 2 into 1 stitch. In the next stitch we're going to make 1, yarn under. In the next stitch we're going to make 2, yarn under, and here's the second one, and then in the next stitch we're going to make 1, and then you're going to do that all the way around. And your last stitch in row 3 should be a single, and that is what we have here. I did 2 into this one. I'm going to do 1 into this one here, and then we'll do a quick count. I'm going to show you how to count these. At the end of each round you can count to make sure you're on track. So this is number 1, and then you can just count the V's around. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So perfect. We did round 3 correctly. We have 12 X single crochets. For round 4, we're going to do this repeat. Into the first stitch, you're going to do 2 X single crochets, in the next stitch 1, and in the next stitch 1. And then you're going to repeat again. The next stitch will be 2 into that stitch, 1 X single crochet, 1 X single crochet. In the end, we will be increasing by 4 stitches to a total of 16. So again, we start at our stitch marker, take that out, and into that stitch we're going to put 2 of these X single crochets, yarn under, replace the stitch marker right away and lock it. Now we're going to do a second one into that same stitch, yarn under. Now in the next 2 stitches we're just going to do 1 and then 1 into this one, and then in the next one we're going to start over again with the 2 and then 1 and 1. So do that all the way around and I'll meet you at the end. So I'm at the end of round 4, and your end of round 4 should end with 1 single crochet and then another single crochet. And again, we can count our stitches starting at the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Great, so we're right on track. For round 5, we're going to do this repeat. In the first stitch, you're going to do 2 X single crochets. In the next 3 stitches, you'll do just 1. Then you'll repeat again. 2 into that next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, 2 into the next stitch, and so on. In total, we'll be increasing 4 stitches for a total of 20 X single crochets. So let's begin that here. We're going to start at our stitch marker, stitch, take that out, and we are going to do 2 of these X single crochets. Did I do that right? Yarn under, and the reason why they're called X single crochets is because this V of the single crochet actually becomes like a little mini X. It's kind of hard to see it when it's really small like this. Yarn under, but that is how it works. Okay, so now in the next 3 stitches we're just going to do, did I do that wrong again? Yarn under, that's 1. I think I did that again. It's really hard to go against your muscle memory of the yarn overs. Yarn under. Okay. This will probably happen to you too, unless you're used to doing amigurumi. Yarn under. Now, and then we begin this pattern all over again with 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. Now, if you notice, I forgot to put my stitch marker back in, but I can see here where I did start, because I only did 5 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, those are the singles, and then here are my 2 together. So luckily I realized that. That's why it's so important to put that in right away. So I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so here I am at the end of round 5, and the last one is just a single. And I just wanted to go over the X stitch single crochet again, just in case you're having any kind of trouble with this. So yarning over is the yarn going over on the top of the hook. Yarning under is putting that yarn under the hook. You see how it's under there, and then grabbing it, pulling it through. And then get that yarn under the hook, grab it, and pull it through. So let's just do a quick count one more time. We've got our first stitch here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Perfect. For the next 3 rounds, round 6, 7, and 8, you're going to do 1 X stitch single crochet in each stitch around. So you're going to be staying at the same count of 20 X single crochet totals at the end of each round. So I'll meet you at the end of those 3 rounds. And just be sure that every time you do your first stitch, that you place your stitch marker and lock it in place so that you don't lose track. Okay, so I just finished these 3 rows. You can just keep track by keeping a check mark next to each of them on the pattern. And then now we're ready for round 9. And for this round, we are going to do a half double crochet in the first stitch, and all the rest of the stitches are going to be double crochet. So I'm going to take the stitch marker out, and we're going to yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. And then before you move on, make sure you put your stitch marker back into that first stitch and lock it. For the rest of the stitches, we're going to do double crochet. So that's going to be 19. So you're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So just do that all the way around to the end, and then we'll move on to the next row. So here we are at the last double crochet of round 9. And this half double crochet that we did here helped us ramp up to the height of the double crochets. So now the next round, round 10, is going to be just all double crochets all the way around. So we're just going to remove our stitch marker, make a double crochet into that half double crochet, replace the stitch marker, very important, lock it down, and then just do double crochets all the way around to the end. Okay, so round 11 is our final round. We're going to do 17 double crochets, 1 half double crochet, 1 X stitch single crochet, and 1 slip stitch. So we're going to begin here at our first marked stitch. We're going to do a double crochet there. Again, put your stitch marker back in, and then you're going to make 16 more of those, and I'll meet you when I get to the 16th one. Okay, so just like we tapered up when we started our double crochets, we're going to be tapering down now here at the end of round 11. So I've done 17 double crochets, and now we're going to do 1 half double crochet, 1 X stitch single crochet, so that's a yarn under, and then 1 slip stitch where we go into the stitch, pull through a loop, and pull that through the loop on our hook. At this stage, do not cut your yarn. The next step that you're going to do is you're going to make a chain that's 50 inches long. So to make a chain, you just yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. Very simple. You're going to do this until your chain is 50 inches long, or if you want your holder to be less long, you can make it shorter. So that's up to you. Okay, so now that we've made our 50-inch chain, we are going to cut our yarn, and we are now going to pull the yarn through, pull that nice and snug. Now you're going to thread your yarn needle. Best way to do that is fold it over. Just kind of slide it up through there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to weave this in and out of our double crochet stitches. So you can remove your stitch marker now. We're done with that. And we're going to take the yarn needle and we're going to come down here to either this space or this one. Doesn't matter. I'll just come down here, and you're just going to go in and out to halfway around. So approximately halfway around. Let's see how this is looking. And then pull it through. Yeah, that's about right. And then what you're going to do is weave it through the other side. Don't go into the yarn, just go in and out of the spaces between the double crochet stitches. Then when you get down here to these last stitches, go in here through this one, and you're going to pull it through just so that the end of that chain, the little knot, is here on the inside. Well, this is our tail from the beginning. We can sew that in later. Just get that out of our way. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fasten this with a knot. So I'm just going to go in here, pull that tight, come back up through under this spot, and I'm not going to pull this all the way through because I'm going to go back through and make a nice little knot in there, and I'm just going to do that a couple of times. So that's once, okay, and then we can maybe even make a nice little, just a knot here on the inside. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sew in these ends on the inside of your little pouch. So I'm just going to come down here, go through here. And this should probably be enough. I'm going to come back around the other way. And we'll just go back in one last time here, and then you can cut the yarn. And then this last tail here on the inside, you can also just sew that in. Just a couple of times. These stitches are really tight, so they can be a little challenging to get into, but just sew that in, just so that doesn't come undone. And once that's done, then you can just cut that, cut the yarn there, and turn it back inside out. And your ditty bag is completed. And then you can put your stuff in it and pull it nice and tight. So that's how you make the Airpod crochet ditty pouch. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for more patterns in the future. And if you want this pattern, it is free on my blog with ads. And if you want an ad-free PDF, you can purchase that at Ravelry and Etsy. The links to everything are in the description below, including the yarns that I used and the colorways and the materials that I used. Thank you for being here, and please share this with your friends, and thank you for subscribing. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.